I've been in sales since I was 18 years old, and I was very lucky that within the first 6 months of my career, I was hired by a sales master. His name is Lewis Steinman, and he took me under his wing and trained me for months at a time, trained me on how to sell. And I wasn't selling my own stuff at first. I was selling furniture, I was selling interior decor, oil paintings, I was selling rugs. And he practiced with me. We did various exercises. He taught me some theory, and then we went out and practiced it. And for months, he watched how I sold and gave me little pointers and basically taught me the technology of sales. And it's been invaluable in launching my own career as an artist. So this is to help you get that same teaching, that same technology that he once taught me in 2011. So here we go. Any sale that you make with a customer, now I'm talking about face-to-face sales here, one-on-one kind of thing. I'm not talking about internet marketing or ClickFunnels or anything like that. I'm talking about one-on-one. You're with the person in front of them, and they see something like, what do you do to complete the sale, close the deal? So I'm going to start off. There are 4 parts to any sale, no matter what. There's 4 parts. The first one is meeting the person, introducing yourself, and creating some rapport. The second one is getting from them what they need and what they want. An example of that is someone comes onto a car lot, and you meet them, you greet them, you gain some, you develop some rapport with them. The second point is, what are you looking for today? And sometimes it takes a little bit of coaxing out of them. Sometimes they don't just spit out what they need. Sometimes they're like, oh, I'm just looking, or I'm just thinking, or I don't want to be bothered, I'm just kind of browsing, and that's all fine. But your job as a salesperson is to find out what their ideal item would be. In a car, do they want a red shiny convertible with a V8 and somehow have some be fuel efficient as well? Do they want a big truck? Do they want a minivan? Do they want a compact European car? What do they want? What's the exact thing that they want? So step 2 is getting from them what do they need and want. And I'll break that down into various steps in a sec. Step 3 is finding their item. Item can be defined as a thing, the thing that they want. So in step 2, you get from them what they want. In step 3, you find the embodiment of what they want in the physical universe. You go through 1,000 cars and you find the red convertible V8 that's fuel efficient that they want. So step 1, introduce yourself and create some rapport. Number 2, find out what they need and want. They'll list off all the things that they want in their item, like if they want a car, they'll list all the features they want. Step 3 is to find that thing. This is one of the, I don't want to say trickiest, but this is one of the most crucial points in the sale. Finding the item. Know for absolute certain that until you find the person's item, nothing is happening in the sale. If they're asking about price, if they're asking you for a business card because they need to come back later, anything they say at that point is totally fine. It's valid. They're able to say it. But it's not going to help the person conclude the sale and move on to the next thing. When you're in step 3, you've got to find their item. So with photography, for example, in my field, you got to find which image. And you go through, you kind of narrow it down to the image that they like. And then you're like, okay, for me, do you want it printed on paper? Do you want it printed on canvas? Do you want it printed on glass? You can go over various options, what the pros and cons are, but at the end, you need an answer from them. One answer. Do they want glass, canvas, or paper? So let's say it's canvas. Good. Do you want it framed or unframed? And they're like, okay, framed. Great. What color do you want the framing to be? Again, you can go over pros and cons. Well, if it's black, it'll look really sharp, but it might not blend in with browns and kind of earth tones. If it blah, blah, blah. Framed or unframed. Good. What color? So the end result of step 3 is you know exactly, were they to buy, exactly what they would get. It's kind of like when you're shopping on Amazon, you add something to the cart, that is the final destination. That is the final thing that would be bought were a transaction to occur. Now, only when step 3 is completed, when they have an exact, tangible, exactly, precisely delineated product or service that they know that they want, you then move on to step 4, which is the most important part, the close. Grant Cardone, the fantastic sales trainer, has entire books about the subject of closing. I'm not going to attempt to get into that because it's thousands of pages long and there's all kinds of incredible technology on closing. I will give a couple highlights though, and I'll get into the close more on later videos if that's what's wanted. Basically, the close is where the transaction happens. It's where you actually provide value to the customer. Without the close, you're doing nothing for the customer. You're adding something in their shopping cart, and you're not clicking that checkout button. So until the close, a close is defined as when the product or service is exchanged for money or something else valuable. It's when that exchange occurs. As a salesperson selling your art, you want to know how to close. I highly recommend the book, The Closer's Survival's Guide by Grant Cardone. Published in 2011, fantastic book. It literally doubled my sales in 2 days when I read it. I was here, I doubled my sales within the same week, and it continued on at a steady pace for the next 6 months after reading this book. Highly recommend. If you want to sell your own art, read The Closer's Survival Guide. It's an incredible, incredible book. So, when you close, you got the item, you give them the price, and you say, do you want to pay by cash or card? Now, if they're not completely sold on it, if they want to think about it, there's a bunch of things you can do which are covered in that book. But you've basically got to nail down a price and then finish the transaction. That is the blueprint of a sale. Introduce yourself, establish rapport. 2, find out what they really need and want. 3, find that product or service and delineate it exactly in the physical universe. Know that you have no hope in closing unless they and you know exactly what they're going to get. There's nothing more frustrating or unrewarding or just plain awful than trying to close over an uncertain step 3. Over an uncertain, they don't know exactly what they want, there's still 2 that they're thinking about, they're going to go home and measure, go home and think about it. If you don't have step 3 done, you can't get the close. So, subscribe to this channel and watch my later videos, and we're going to break down how you perfect each phase of the sale. But those are the 4 basics, and I hope that can help you, at least to some small degree, to start with. Thank you for watching. Bye.